Making videos with empty chairs has been a Swagglehoss special for the last 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swagglehoss. And in this one, maybe the MCU is finally starting to listen. Okay, maybe they've been watching my YouTube channel getting empty chair ideas because yesterday they caused a lot of hype announcing their Avengers Doomsday cast. People were so excited about names on felt that they actually went over to eBay and bought every single key comic related to those names. Okay, I'm just kidding. No, they didn't. But that doesn't stop the comic book community from having the discussion that now the comic book collecting market is saved. Here comes Avengers Doomsday to the rescue. And so in this video, I wanted to go over the news, talk about some of the characters that will be making an appearance, in the MCU. Very, very exciting stuff. And then ultimately ask ourselves the question, does this change anything for the comic market? But of course, before I get into it, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, I appreciate it. Helps support the channel doing those things. But let us get into this video. Now there you see it. Robert Downey Jr. with the shush face. I'm not really sure why he went with the shush, but who am I to question his actorial choices? I mean, for a little bit of time, yesterday, it caused a lot of hype. This was the #1 trending thing on X, and people were talking about it. A mission accomplished for the Marvel marketing team. If you guys don't know, yesterday they did this 8-hour-long stream where they basically had a camera on a dolly, and every 30 minutes or so, they would roll to another chair that would reveal a name of an actor who is going to be making their way into the MCU. And this is the list of characters that are going to be playing roles in Avengers Doomsday. We got Thor, we got Invisible Woman, we got Falcon or Captain America, we got Bucky here, we got Shuri, Black Panther, we got Black Widow, Yelena Belova, Beast, Sentry, other Falcon, Human Torch, Ant-Man, US Agent, Namor, Thing, Shang-Chi, Red Guardian, M'Baku, Ghost, Loki, Professor X, Magneto, which was probably the coolest one, in my opinion, to actually see, Nightcrawler, Mystique, Cyclops, Gambit, Mr. Fantastic, and then, of course, Dr. Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr. So kind of a cool cast. I mean, I feel like we could have expected this. And there were definitely people that were wondering about, well, what about Tom Holland? What about Hugh Jackman? What about Ryan Reynolds? Obviously, those guys are going to be the ones that are on the raft that, are saved through Mr. Fantastic's, whatever. And they're going to be the ones that start in Secret Wars. I mean, we know this, guys. We know how this is going to work. All these characters are going to die at the end of Doomsday. Spoilers! Sorry. But what's most interesting about this is a lot of the conversation being had out there in the comic collecting market. A lot of people now saying oh, here we go. Giant size X-Men is finally going to go back to the moon. X-Men #1 finally going to go back to the moon. And the question is this, is it really though? Is it really? I mean, how long have we been doing the comic book index and looking at charts and graphs and, understanding the froth that was injected into comic books and collectibles by way of COVID and the money printing and the entire economy? I mean, comic book values seem to have a direct correlation to, monetary policy. That's what I've determined at this point in my comic collecting journey, is that the more people who are spending money on expendable things like comic books, the more the values go up. And right now, people are not doing that. And it doesn't really matter what movie or what character is showing up in what show. In mass, in the aggregate, that's not going to have the same effect that we once thought that it did, in a lot of movie cases and stuff. Because even when you go here to eBay and you think to yourself, wow, Nightcrawler is coming back, surely that means the Giant Size X-Men 1 is now going to be selling. Well, if we go over to eBay, we see 3 sales. No real difference than what you would see on a normal day of comic book selling land. We had a 5.0 buy it now. We had an 8.0 buy it now. And then we had this raw copy go for $2,200 with 30 bits. I mean, maybe the buy it now has got somebody, a little more excited to buy the book, but this is the price it probably should have been selling at regardless. I mean, if we go over here to GPA and we look at Giant Size X-Men #1 and we look at the 90-day average, I mean, look, still a lot of red, still a lot of red, a couple greens here and there, but in mass, guys, based on the indexes. And even if you go over here to, the Go Collect CPI that they put out, I mean, there's nothing indicating that the trend isn't continuing to go down, right? At a certain point, I think that the trend will stop going down. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be next month. I don't think this announcement is going to be the thing that stops it. Incidentally, though, I do think that it's possible that by the time we actually get this movie, and we're in 2026. And maybe that's a time when the economy has recovered and maybe we're in quantitative easing at that point. I know a lot of boring stuff, but it might actually correlate with these movies coming out. Maybe by the time we get Avengers Secret Wars, which is like, 2027, that might be a time when there's more money in the system and more people are collecting comic books and spending again. And that might be the time where, incidentally, the book values of Giant Size X-Men 1 are going up. And people are saying, like, see, it's because of the movies. And it's like, really, it's because of the economy. What's that famous quote? It's the economy, stupid. That's really what it is. But, it is kind of interesting, how people still sort of think that things behave that way. I mean, if you go over to X-Men #1, a lot of people excited about Professor X and Ian McKellen. And frankly, like I already said, I'm actually pretty excited to see Ian McKellen show up in an MCU movie. I think that that's pretty cool. I'm actually excited to see James Marsden as well. Cyclops. I feel like Cyclops has never really had a really good moment. He's been the punching bag for a long time. We need to do Cyclops justice. But all that being said, X-Men #1, one sale yesterday, 38 bids. So it was going to end whether or not this announcement came out or it didn't. And it sold for $5,300, which frankly, if we go over here to 3.5, last sale was $6,250. Now, this was a Pence copy, so let's not get too worked up. UK Pence variant. Nobody likes Pence copies. But still, it's not like this announcement was able to push this book over the edge. And, if we look at it, once again, what do we see? It's a lot of red. I don't know if you guys spend a lot of time on GPA these days. Like, it's all red. It's always been red for the last 2 years or so. I mean, it's not entirely true. There are a few books here and there that are bucking the trends every now and again, going to green. But again, in mass, in aggregate, the book values have been coming down. And we've had many conversations about this. And, we speculated on one of the reasons for that. I mean, more books getting pulled out, collections being unearthed. The comic book boom caused a lot of people to be motivated to sell their books. So there was the gold rush to sell. And we're still kind of, trying to find this equilibrium right now. There's still a lot of people that are, pulling out the money that they put into the comic books, and they're trying to get rid of a lot of their books, or they're trading into other books that they actually really want. Maybe people aren't as interested in the superhero stuff anymore, and they're moving those books over to things like Invincible, which actually brings me over to Invincible. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about and throw out to you guys, it's one of those things that we have to ask ourselves, do announcements like this, does hype like this really change the values within the market? I mean, if they do, maybe it's for a day, right? But by and large, I think a lot of times it has a lot more to do with cheaper books in general. There are a lot of Doom books that have been selling since yesterday. There will be books that show up on hot lists and things like that. But as far as the mega grails, it's going to be hard for them to actually find their way into that amount of volume that, say, the $20 or the $15 or the $10 keys actually do. Unlike this book here, which has been going against almost all of expectations as far as its value and its demand is concerned, all of the Invincible books, as I'm sure you guys are well aware of, have been moving out there. And one of the most interesting things about them moving is the fact that it is now after the season is done that people are buying the book, which seems counterintuitive, right? Most people want to buy the thing and ride it through the moment of the show. You would think that it's actually after the thing that the book value starts to go down, but actually that's not what happens when, frankly, people actually like the thing that they watched. If the show is good, and they go through the entire season, that actually makes them want to be a fan. That actually makes them go back to the comic book store and buy the thing. In fact, if we think about it, Infinity War and Endgame, that was like the top, right, of the MCU. That was the biggest hype. Yet the comic book values trailed that. Now, granted, we had COVID and all those factors, but as far as the fandom and people, believing in this stuff, it was after the movies that made them believe in it. So as far as that being a factor, I don't think these hype announcements are really going to make that many waves. But if the movie's actually good, that's when you'll start to see a lot of people say, you know what? Alan Cumming was awesome in Avengers Doomsday. I actually do want that Nightcrawler book. And it's what we've been seeing with Invincible right here. I mean, check this out, guys. I mean, look at these 9.8s. We have 431 on the census, 23% 9.8 rate. Of course, this book's peak was in COVID, like every single book. But look at the chart. I mean, as far as multiple seasons are concerned, this book is selling pretty high, like almost near what it was selling for at the height of 2021. And again, like I said, this is not hype to the season. This is hype after the season. And this is just Invincible #1. I mean, of course, there's so many other keys related to Invincible that have been selling as well. And so I think that this is a testament to how good the show is and that people are genuinely fans of the property. People want to legitimately hold this book. And we've had conversations about this many times on the channel, and other comic people have had conversations about this as well on their channels. But, values of books only go up if people actually want to hold it, right? If people are just looking for the quick flip, well, it's going to go up and down as fast as any spec book does. But, if you can actually convert people into fans, that's when they're going to be readers. Let's face it, they're not going to be readers, but they're going to be holders. They're going to be collectors of those books. And, it even kind of reminds me of Marvel Rivals and things like that, right? Where there's more people who are genuine fans now of Jeff the Landshark than they would ever be if Jeff the Landshark happened to show up for 1 minute in some movie or some Disney Plus show. They just have to be fans of the material. And movies can do that. Movies can be one factor making people fans, but it's not the be all end all. And certainly it's not going to be empty chairs that actually converts them into those fans. Anyways, that's all for this video. That was me kind of going over this announcement, this kind of surprise cast reveal that we got yesterday. What do you guys think about all this? Are you guys excited about any of these characters showing up once again? We've had so many returns. Is Special Marvel Edition now going to make its way back up to, what, $20,000? What was the 9.8 for that? $20,000? Now it sells for like $4,000? Something crazy? Could it ever reach that level again now that Simu Liu is going to show up? I mean, if you're a 9.8 holder, I hope that is certainly the case for you. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. What do you guys think about this announcement? Are you guys more excited about the Avengers films based on this casting announcement? Are you guys excited about the comic market once again? Do you think that this is going to have an effect on the comic market? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See y'all in the next video.